What if everything you thought about one of the media's most polished figures was only part of the story? Dana Perino, a name that stands tall in the world of politics and media. She's celebrated for her poise, professionalism, and the calm confidence she brings to every conversation. But here's the twist. What if that polished surface is hiding something far more troubling? What if behind the poised smile lies a legacy tied to manipulation, controversy, and unshakable loyalty to questionable actions? This isn't just another video dissecting a public figure's career. No, this is about peeling back the layers of a person whose influence shapes what millions of people believe every single day. You may think you know who Dana Perino is, but by the end of this video, you might have an entirely different perspective on the power she wields and the choices she's made. And here's the reward for sticking around. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why some call her the most indecent woman in media, but you'll also see the subtle ways influential figures can shape your view of the world without you even realizing it. The truth might shock you or even make you question how much of what you see in the media can really be trusted. Stay with me because this story is only just beginning. Let's talk about Dana Perino's journey to becoming one of the most recognizable figures in media and politics. She wasn't just handed the spotlight, she earned it by navigating some of the most high-pressure roles imaginable. As White House press secretary under George W. Bush, she wasn't just another voice in the room, she was the voice. Her job was to represent one of the most powerful administrations in U.S. history, standing at the podium daily to defend their actions and decisions. At first glance, it's impressive. Few people have the composure and skill to manage that kind of pressure. But here's where the cracks start to show. Perino's calm demeanor wasn't just a tool for communication, it was a shield. During her tenure, the Bush administration faced some of the biggest controversies of our time: the Iraq War, the mishandling of Hurricane Katrina, and policies that left millions questioning their government's integrity. And where was Dana Perino? Right at the center of it all, carefully choosing her words, controlling the narrative, and presenting the administration's side as if there was no alternative truth. It wasn't just about answering questions, it was about shaping what people believed. Her ability to remain calm and collected wasn't just a skill, it was a weapon. Here's where it gets even more complicated. While some might argue she was just doing her job, others see something far more troubling. Perino wasn't simply reporting the facts, she was spinning them. For example, during the Iraq War, when reports of civilian casualties and chaos on the ground emerged, Perino's responses were framed around progress and stability. These words painted a picture that didn't match the grim reality millions of people were experiencing. Now, here's a question to think about. When you're the face of a system making decisions that harm countless lives, can you really separate yourself from the consequences? Or does your role make you complicit? By the time this video is over, you'll see how this question applies not just to Dana Perino, but to many others who've risen to power on a similar path. Now let's dig deeper into what made Dana Perino so effective and so controversial. Her greatest skill wasn't just her calm demeanor, it was her ability to control the narrative, even when the facts didn't align with the story she told. This wasn't just a talent, it was a calculated strategy that allowed her to frame the most contentious issues in ways that softened the blow or deflected criticism altogether. Take the Iraq War as an example. The Bush administration faced mounting criticism over the justification for the war, the handling of its aftermath, and the staggering civilian casualties. When reporters pressed for answers, Perino had a knack for staying unflappable. Instead of addressing the core concerns, she would redirect the conversation, focusing on broad terms like progress and long-term goals. To an untrained ear, it might have sounded reassuring. But for those paying attention, it was clear the real issues were being swept under the rug. This wasn't an isolated tactic. During the fallout from Hurricane Katrina, a disaster that left thousands dead and millions displaced, Perino again used the same polished approach to defend the administration's response. Critics argued that the government's actions were slow, inadequate, and even negligent, yet Perino's public statements painted a picture of a leadership team working tirelessly to manage an unprecedented crisis. The contrast between her words and the harsh reality faced by millions of Americans couldn't have been starker. This brings us to the core of the issue. When someone becomes this good at reframing the truth, are they just skilled at their job, or are they contributing to a culture of misinformation? Dana Perino wasn't just answering questions, she was shaping public perception in ways that influenced how history would remember these events. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. This ability to spin a narrative didn't end when Perino left the White House. She carried it into her media career, where her polished communication skills allowed her to reach an even larger audience. But we'll get to that in the next section. Before we move on, ask yourself, if someone can make you feel comfortable about uncomfortable truths, how much of what you believe is really your own opinion? Hold that thought. What comes next will show you how this pattern has evolved into something even more powerful. When Dana Perino left the White House, her role in shaping public opinion didn't end, it expanded. Moving into the world of media, she became a regular face on Fox News, one of the most influential networks in the country. If you thought her role as press secretary gave her a platform, her media career took that influence to an entirely new level. But here's the thing, while her job title changed, her tactics didn't. Perino continued to use the same calm, polished, and reassuring communication style. On the surface, it made her commentary feel balanced and trustworthy. But a closer look reveals something more concerning. Her media presence allowed her to continue framing narratives in ways that downplayed serious issues or deflected attention away from uncomfortable truths. For example, when discussing divisive topics like income inequality, systemic injustice, or environmental concerns, Perino has a way of steering the conversation toward feel-good anecdotes or vague surface-level solutions. It's not outright denial, but rather a subtle form of deflection that makes viewers feel like the problems aren't as serious as they seem or that they're too complex to fix. This approach makes it easy for people to accept the status quo without questioning it. What's more, Perino's unwavering loyalty to her past affiliations hasn't wavered. In fact, it's become a hallmark of her brand. Even when the policies or leaders she defends come under scrutiny, she remains steadfast, often dismissing criticism as political noise or partisan bias. But here's the real question. Is loyalty still a virtue when it blinds you to the consequences of the actions you're defending? This ability to influence without appearing confrontational is what makes her so effective and, to some, so dangerous. Millions of people tune into her commentary, often unaware of how her carefully crafted words shape their views on critical issues. And this brings us to the heart of the matter. Dana Perino isn't just a commentator. She's a storyteller, one who knows how to weave narratives that guide public perception. But at what cost? Stay with me, because in the final section, we'll tie everything together and reveal why Perino's approach isn't just a personal choice, it's a reflection of a much larger system designed to keep you comfortable, even at the expense of the truth. So, why does any of this matter? Why focus on one person, Dana Perino, and her career in politics and media? It's because her story is bigger than her. It's a window into how power operates not through force, but through influence. Dana Perino's ability to shape narratives isn't unique to her. It's a blueprint for how powerful systems maintain control. By presenting polished, reassuring messages, she and others like her help create a version of reality that feels safe, even when it's far from the truth. This is why her calm, composed demeanor is so significant. It disarms skepticism. It makes you trust, and it makes you less likely to ask the hard questions. Think about it. How many times have you been lulled into believing something because it sounded reasonable? Because it came from someone who seemed credible? That's the power of people like Perino. They don't just inform you, they shape what you think is worth believing. But here's where it gets dangerous. When figures like Dana Perino use their influence to downplay systemic issues or defend controversial decisions, they're not just presenting an opinion. They're normalizing a mindset that says it's okay to overlook the uncomfortable, to accept half-truths, and to move on without demanding accountability. This is why understanding her story is crucial. It's not about tearing someone down, it's about waking up to the subtle ways narratives are shaped around us. It's about learning to recognize when we're being guided to think or feel a certain way and questioning why. Now here's the part where your role comes in. This isn't just about Dana Perino or the media in general. It's about all of us. The next time you hear a message that feels too polished, too convenient, or too comfortable, ask yourself, what's not being said? What's behind the words? If you've made it this far, here's what I want you to do. Take a moment to think about how you consume information. Share this video with someone who trusts the media without question. Start a conversation about the power of influence and the role we all play in challenging it. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about one person, it's about all of us being more aware, more critical, and more in control of the narratives we choose to believe. Let's stop being passive consumers of information and start being active questioners of the truth. Your thoughts matter. Share them in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going.